Good morning, everybody. Matt Modi with OddsJam. How we doing? Here to give you some NBA player props to lock in today. So we had a pretty good slate of NBA yesterday. We have another really good slate of NBA today. So I'm here to give you my favorite player props. Did have a rough day yesterday on these player props, I will say, so not hiding behind that, but that's just the nature of sports betting. That's also the nature of betting on player props specifically. You're betting on an individual, variance is going to be a little bit higher. Overall, it's been very, very profitable for me using OddsJam. Even if you look at the recent trends, it's been going really well for me. As soon as my dashboard loads, all of this data is taken from the OddsJam bet tracker that I use for completely free. Track every single bet that I've ever placed using OddsJam, which is a lot, up over 21K. And even if you just look at the last 5 or 6 weeks, not a single down day. Now, one week I was only up 111. Last week I was up, or currently this week I'm up 224, even with the rough player prop day yesterday. So squarely in the green. Generally, things trend well when you're positive expected value betting. Just have to accept a little bit of variance. Again, my name is Matt Modi. If you want to find me on Twitter, you can at my handle Jedi Modi, as you see on the screen here, and then at I'll Pick It, where is very betting specific, verifiable bet tracker syncs directly with your sports books at OddsJam_Matt. Let's get into it. So play number one, we are looking at Ben Simmons to go over 7.5 assists, minus 114 odds at Bet Rivers. So this is play number one. Every single positive EV play is going to be bolded. It's going to have the rectangle around it. So don't look at anything else like the odds or anything. If you're just looking at what the play is, look at what's bolded with the rectangle around it. A siren that's saying, bet me. So the reason why this bet has positive expected value is because of these no vig odds here that you see price this right at about minus 119. So it's very, very important to understand the concept behind these no vig odds and why OddsJam and why the OddsJam positive EV tool is so powerful. Now, every single bet that shows up here is going to be positive expected value. That's why it's on the page. But understanding the process behind it, I do think is important to understanding why, again, it's so powerful. So I clicked into this play. Look at where all the sports books price odds for the Ben Simmons over 7.5. Bet Rivers at minus 114. We see odds all the way up at minus 155. First of all, that's insane, the difference between these two numbers. But with the gap that large, a 41-cent gap between sports books, one of them has to be right, one of them has to be wrong. They both can't be that far apart and accurately reflect the market on Ben Simmons over 7.5 assists, right? It just doesn't make any sense. So with that thought in mind, that one's right and one's wrong, there are some sports books that are consistently and historically better than others at pricing odds, more accurate than the rest of the sports books at pricing odds. So OddsJam back-tested thousands and thousands of betting opportunities to determine who the sharp sports books are. Calculated all that data and said, and we can just pretend, okay, these 5 sports books are consistently better than others at pricing odds. So we're going to pull odds from all 5 of these sports books. We're going to remove the VIG. That's the juice. That's the tax. That's sports books price odds. And then we're going to use these sports books to set the market on current/future betting opportunities. So basically saying these 5 are consistently the best at pricing odds. So we're going to use them to set the true line of a market for current betting opportunities. And then OddsJam just scans markets from every major sportsbook, every major market, pulls lines, and anywhere in which you are getting better odds than these no vig odds here, the true line, you are getting a profitable play. So Ben Simmons over 7.5 assists, minus 114 at Bet Rivers is priced at minus 114, as I mentioned, should be priced 5 cents higher at minus 119. That is profitability. There is your mathematically profitable bet right there. So this is play number one. Ben Simmons over 7.5 assists. Play number 2. We are looking at Jamal Murray over 18.5 points, minus 118 odds at Bet Rivers. So the OddsJam perfect line on this one prices it at about minus 122, just above minus 122. We are getting it at minus 118. So there's your gap, there's your profitability. Now, I will say, I don't just blindly take every single bet on the positive expected value page. Yes, they all are mathematically profitable, but not every single one is something that I would recommend betting. The reason why, I only recommend betting on plays, and this is true for player props and non-player props, that are true outliers when you compare the rest of the markets. So look at this Jamal Murray one. Again, we're taking his over 18.5 points. So you want to compare the bet you're placing, minus 118, to every other sports book. Now you can ignore these two, Prize Picks and Monkey Knife Fight, because they're DFS companies. They have the same odds for every single play. Granted, this is a good Prize Picks one. So if you do have Prize Picks, Jamal Murray over 18.5 points is a good one. But look at where every major sportsbook prices this. The closest one is MGM at minus 130. Then we have Caesars at minus 137, DraftKings at minus 145, and Pinnacle at minus 139. Now, Pinnacle is the sharpest sportsbook in the world, so they're given the heaviest weight. They priced it 21 cents higher at minus 139. DraftKings is another sharp one. They price it all the way up at minus 145. So this minus 118 is in its own realm. It's a clear outlier compared to every other book. It was the same thing with the Ben Simmons one, right? We got minus 114, Pinnacle minus 137. BetOnline is another very sharp sports book. They have this at minus 135, a clear outlier, and then DraftKings also at minus 135. So play number 2, Jamal Murray over 18.5 points, minus 118 at BetRivers. Next up, we are looking at the Sixers versus Clippers game tonight and taking Joel Embiid, my favorite player, to go under 32.5 points. This one hurts, but you got to bet not with emotion, but with math, with data. And the data is telling us that Embiid under 32.5 points is a good, at minus 105 odds, because odds are obviously the most important thing, is a good bet. So the no vig line on this one, the OddsJam perfect line, is at about rounding up to minus 107, minus 106.61. And then you want to compare the sports books of every other, or compare the odds from every other sports book. So we got it at minus 105. We took the under 32.5. Pretty much in the minus 120s across the board, with BetRivers, the only one, and that's at minus 118. So another really good price here. We see minus 122, minus 120, BetOnline being minus 120 as well. Really good price here on Embiid under 32.5 points. This is play number 3. Next up, we are looking at Damian Lillard to go under 31.5 points. This is at minus 110 odds at Bet365. So the OddsJam perfect line prices this at about minus 111.5, essentially. We're getting it at minus 110. So even with the smaller gaps between the OddsJam perfect line and the bet that we are placing at, the odds, I should say, of the bet we're placing it at, still can be profitable. You want to do the same amount of research and just make sure that you're betting on an outlier. In this case, so we're getting minus 110. DraftKings, 15 cents higher at minus 125. BetOnline, 20 cents higher at minus 130. Pinnacle at minus 135. So the 3 main sports books that we look at for the sharp ones, mostly giving heavier weight to Pinnacle and BetOnline, of course, all have it pretty decently above. And when I say above, I mean more likely to occur than the Bet365 line. And then if you just look at the average of the rest of the books, minus 139, minus 125, minus 138. And then again, we can ignore Prize Picks and Underdog. So pretty good price here, again, on Bet365. So this is my 4th NBA player prop for this video. Next up, so this Ben Simmons one, the PRA I'm not taking because I didn't deem it a good enough outlier. So just to show you, there are some plays that I don't lock in, like this Ben Simmons one right here. So the 5th play is Joe Harris over 2.5 made threes at plus 125 odds. PointsBet pricing, so 2 books pricing it kind of close, FanDuel and PointsBet at plus 120 and plus 115, but every other book is pretty decently below. Pinnacle at plus 105, DraftKings matching that, also at plus 105, BetOnline at plus 109, with BetRivers all the way up at plus 125. So this is play number 5, Joe Harris over 2.5 made threes. And then I believe I have one more, 6th for my 6th and final play, Josh Hart under 3.5 assists, plus 124 at FanDuel. So BetRivers is kind of close at plus 123. No other book is, though. We see plus 106, BetOnline plus 107, Pinnacle plus 104, DraftKings plus 100. The only book that's close is BetRivers. Every other book kind of has it hovering around the plus 100 mark, and we're getting it all the way up at plus 124. So this is another good play, my sixth and final NBA player prop for this video. And that's it. So if you're tailing these, comment and let me know. Other than that, please remember to like the video, subscribe to the OddsJam YouTube channel, and that's it. So thanks for watching and have a good one.